live stream. And let me say this first. If you're new to the channel, this is not a video that you should start watching this if this is the first one, because this is a little confusing. If you're new, you're going to say, like, how does this number kind of, connect to your puzzle? There's so many better videos to watch, but this video is another excellent example of how they use numbers to connect their perfect puzzle, okay? Because it has to be perfect if they're going to try and copy God. And who is they? We're talking about Elvis and Trump. Elvis is the real antichrist. He is the devil, all right? And Trump is the image of the devil, who is Elvis. And this is why Trump is the one who gets the you know the crucifixion, and then rises from the dead, because see, they're trying to copy God, because when Jesus, who is God in the flesh, he when he was walking the earth as God in the flesh, God was still in heaven as the Father. See, and that's what they're doing. Elvis is playing God in heaven, while Trump is playing God in the flesh, and that's why he has to get the head wound that heals, the deadly head wound, because they're copying Jesus, who was crucified and resurrected. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Trump, he gets his head wound on August 4th, and then he heals from his deadly head wound. Okay, you'll see if you watch my videos, you'll know. And by the way, uh, you have to go to the live section of this channel to get all my recent videos. The live section. Okay, that's where all my recent videos are. So you have to watch at least 10 of my Elvis Trump videos to figure out what's going on. Anyway, so uh, I have two predictions. June 11th, Washington State gets struck. It's the B side of the sea event. It's the biblical B side of the sea event on June 11th. Okay, and in the Bible, it tells you the biblical B side of the sea. He gets a deadly head wound. I mean, one of its heads has a deadly head wound that heals. So what better head wound than what better person to get that head wound than the one who looks like Elvis? I mean, who compares himself to Elvis, which is Trump. Trump compares himself to Elvis, and that's why Trump is the one who gets the deadly head wound that heals. That's what the Bible says. All right. So that's why the June 11th event is the biblical B side of the sea event in Washington State. And then Trump gets his head wound on August 4th. Now, let's go to what this video is about. And by the way, folks, please thumb up the video and make sure you comment under the video. Make sure you comment under the video, okay? So thumb up the video and comment under the video. Now, this first part, like I said, I'm just laying a little bit of groundwork here. All right. So, Elvis, he was born on 1/8 and he died at the age of 42. Okay. Elvis was born on 1/8, died at age 42. And the numbers 1/8 looks like the number's 18, right? And 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. Okay. And Elvis's full name equals 216. Elvis Aaron Presley, and 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. All right. So everything to do with Elvis has to do with the 666. I'm not going to show it in this video, but look, you'll see what this video is about in a moment. So the square root of 18 is 4.2. And Elvis was born on 1/8 and he died at the age of 42. Okay. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because I told you Washington State is the 42nd state, and Elvis died at 42, and George Washington's original birthday was the 42nd day of the year. So everything connects to that number also. And why am I bringing this up? Okay, because we're going to be concentrating on a particular number. Okay, the square root of 42 is 6.48. Okay. Now, what's going on with this number right here? You'll see what I mean. So the first three numbers of the square root of 42 is 6.48. There's a bunch of other numbers after that. But look, why is this important? Because look, Let's start with this example. All right. Lucifer equals 7438, because Elvis is a representation of Lucifer, okay? Before he fell, because Lucifer was a musician in heaven, and he was the Pied Piper who led the angels astray. Anyway, and then he became Satan when he got thrown out. Okay, but look, the prime numbers for 74 and 38, these are the numbers, and this is the totals. It adds up to 648. Okay, so let me again show you what we're talking about. Elvis died at 42. Washington's the 42nd state. 42nd, the square root of 42 is 6.48. So you have a 648 connection with the totals for Lucifer. Okay, now just follow me. This is just me laying the groundwork here. Elvis died on 8/16/1977. If you took the prime numbers for Elvis's death date of 8/16/1977, here's the prime numbers and here's the totals for everything. You add it up, you get 648. I'm just asking, is this a coincidence so far? Okay, so you had the Lucifer connection with 648. And by the way, Elvis was known as the king. Guess what the king equals? 7438. The words the king equals 7438. Okay? And Elvis was known as the king. All right? So you have a 648. Elvis died at 42. Washington State is the 42nd state where the June 11th event is going to happen. So you have the 648. 648 with the Lucifer, the king. The king equals Lucifer, same numbers. And then Elvis died on 8/16/1977. If you add up the totals for the prime numbers for 8/16/1977, adds up to 648. All right, so you have another 648. Now, I told you that Trump gets his head wound on Obama's birthday, 8/4. 8/4 is the 216th day of the year, right? And I told you Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Okay, so Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. Now, that's the day Trump gets his head wound, right? If you go from the first of the year to August 4th, if you don't add the days, 215 days. If you add the days, 216 days. On a leap year, it's the 217th day. If you add these three up, you get 648. All right, do you see what I'm saying? Because that's the end of this puzzle. When I say the end, I mean the last, because I have two predictions, but it doesn't end there. I'm just saying that those are the two predictions of June 11th and August 4th. So you have August 4th connecting to the 648. All right, do you see what I'm saying here? All these connections that I just gave you with the 648. So what is the chance that that connects to the 648 also? All right. Now, you remember I told you that Elvis was a twin, okay? And twin equals 66, and that's how many years was in between Elvis's birthday and 9/11. 66 years, 8 months, 4 days. But the word twin equals 66. Elvis's name equals 67. 66, 67. Twin equals 66, Elvis equals 67, his name. Check this out. 66 prime is 317. 67 prime is 331. It equals 648. Now, again, I ask you, are these just coincidences? What is this? Look, twin equals 66. Elvis equals 67. 66 prime and 67 prime. It adds up to 648. Okay? Now, remember, Elvis is born on 1/8. 1/8. Add 18 to the 648, you get 666. You see that? Is that another coincidence? You know? You see what I'm talking about? All right. Now, this one is not such a big deal. This one, what I'm about to show right here, I was just showing you how many 648 days from Elvis's birthday lands on 10/16. 10/16 has the numbers 611 with with the O. The O is like the zero or the letter O is a crown, a portal, a womb, a matrix, a ring, a head, a face, but really it's a portal. And so 1016 looks like the numbers 611, okay? So that's why I was showing that. So from Elvis's birthday, you go forward 648 days, it lands on 1016, okay? All right, now, but this is not important. It's just showing you that the numbers are connected, okay? Now, we're in the year 2026, right? And the 26th prime is 101. So you have the 611 in there, okay? In the connections, but I'm not going to explain that right now. There's more to it than that. So the prime number, the 26, because next year is the 26th year. The 26 prime is 101. If you took that 101 prime, the 101st prime is 547. You add the 101 to the 547, you get 648. Okay? Do you see what I mean? Just like if you add the 26 to the 101, you get 127, and 127 is the Pearl Harbor date, 12/7. So forget about that. What's important is the 648 with the 101. You see? Okay? And we're speaking of the 648. The square root of 64 is 8. And you know how old Obama is right now? Is 64. You know? Obama's still going to be 64 when the 6/11 event happens, right? But it doesn't matter. Just know that the 64th, the square root is exactly 8 and then a bunch of zeros, okay? So there's your 648 connection, 648, get it? 64. And now let's go into a little bit more, because the devil's always in the details, folks. Look, from Elvis's death to the Twin Towers collapse, is 26 days, and if you add the days, 27. That's 648 hours. That 27th day, 648. And I'm not going to explain it, but even the 624, if you don't add the day, it's 26 days, which is when 624 on the Julian calendar is 611. But anyway, 648 hours or 624 if you don't add the day. It's the same numbers as Elvis's name, 6722, 6722. I showed that in the 6-7 video I did. But anyway, so 648 hours in between Elvis's death and the Twin Towers collapse date, And, in between the first of the year and 9/11 is, in between Elvis's birthday and 9/11 is 254 days, and on leap year is 255. It's interesting, and there's a reason why I'm showing you that. Notice that I highlighted 254 and 55. So 254 or 255, right? If on a leap year. Look at this. The square root of 648 is 25.4. And then you have a 55. Then you have an 84 and a 4. Because I told you Trump gets his head on 84, and 4 days later he comes back on 88 when he opens his eyes. When I say come back, he just opens his eyes. He's not coming back to work. He's going to heal from his wound for a while. But 648, the square root is 25,455. See, 254, 255, which is what I just showed you with the 9/11. 254, 255. Okay. Now, again, devil's in the details. Trump's going to get his head on 8/4, August 4th. 6 hours and 48 minutes, 648 has a connection to the 8/4. 408 minutes is 6 hours, 48 minutes. I'm just asking, are these coincidences? And I told you that the June 11th event is in Washington State, and Seattle is, the main, it's going to be the place where they talk about the most, even though the whole West Side is going to be struck, So Super Bowl winners, Seattle won their Super Bowl, was the 48th Super Bowl. And Elvis is 48 years dead right now. He's been dead for 48 years right now. So 48, they won. And I told you guys, if you watch my Super Bowl video, that Seattle was my number one choice to win. All right. But, I was naming a few others too, but I said Seattle was the main one. And so if they win the 60th, which is this next year, what numbers do you see there? 6, 4, and 8 with the crown or the portal. You see? If they win. So they would win the 6, 4, and the 8. Are you guys getting what I'm showing? Are you getting this part? The 6, 4, 8 there? Are you saying it? If Seattle were to win, okay? All right. And they're number one team practically right now. And what is 60 plus 48? Is 108. Elvis's birthday is 108. You know what I mean? If you add the 0 in there, 108 or 18, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying with the 8 and the 0, yeah. With the OH. Yeah, someone's saying something in the chat. Anyway, yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Okay. Now, remember we were talking about all the numbers that have to do with 648, 684 or 648. I'm sorry, 648. Now watch this. So if it's 648, we're looking at, because that's what all the numbers we were looking at for the whole time. We were looking at 6, 4, and 8. But now look, it's 486. 486 is the order technically. Is this a coincidence too? That from the first of the year to 611, if you don't add the day, it's 161 days, but up to that day, if you add the day, it's 162, and on leap year, it's 163. You add it up, it's 486. You see that? 486. The June 11th event in, I told you, Washington, Seattle. You understand? They won the 48th, and they are they going to win the 60th? 486 with a crown or a portal. 486, 611. Are you getting it? And the 486, because the 611 has to connect to August 4th. That's why it's the portal. Okay? You have the O there, for the if they win. So the O is the portal. 486 plus the portal to the August 4th. 486. Look at this. The square root of 486, the first 5 numbers here is 22.045. 486 square root is 22.045. And why am I showing this? First of all, 22 plus 45 is 67, which is Elvis. Elvis equals 6722. And what's in between 22 and 67 is the 45, the portal, the O, the bridge, the portal. Speaking of bridges, Bridget Bardot died at 91, and Elvis turns 91 in like a week and a half. But anyway, everything's about the bridge and the portal, okay? So that's what the O is, all right? Now look, so the square root of 486, because we're connecting the Seattle, the Super Bowl stuff with the 486 and to June 11th, and 486 is 22045, the square root. If you add up all the numbers between 22 through 45, you get 804. I told you the 611 has to connect to the 84. Okay? Do you understand? 84. 486. 486. 611. Square root. 22 through 45 is 804. Okay? Do you understand? And here's, this is a little bit odd. But look, 666 equals 486, the total. If you take the forward numbers and the backward numbers for 666, it equals 486, and then the total is 684. It's the same numbers, but not 648, but it's 684. So 666 is 684 instead of 648. It's all, as long as they have the same numbers, that's what matters. Okay? 486 has the 648 numbers, 684 has the 648 numbers, and it's connected to 666. All right. I can show you much more with this, all this too. You know, this is the EL connection with the crown. This is the pi number. It's all connected. So 684 is 666 or 486. And I told you 486 connected to 611, right? The 486. And everything else I was showing you. All right. So 684 also. And look, from the Elvis died on 8/16. From the first of the year to 8/16 is 227 days if you don't add the day, but up to that day, or 228 days if you add the day, and 229 on leap year, it equals 684. And what did I just tell you? The 684 connects to the 666. 666. The total is 684. You see? Oh my God, my hand's about to fall off. Hold on. Whoa. So I can't even feel my hand right now. It's numb. What are you writing? Yeah, exactly. 684. 6, you have a 6, then 8 plus 4 is 12. So that's two sixes. 6 plus 6 is 12. Yeah. So you have, even in the numbers, is of 648 or 486 has the 666 numbers. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah. So you have a 6, and then 8 plus 4 is 12. Yeah. And 6 plus 6 is 12. So are you guys enjoying this video? Like, is this a good video? Like, is this something I should be leaving up for the viewers to see? Yeah. All right, here we go. I don't have that much more to show, but yeah, God bless you and God bless everyone in the chat. All right, here we go. Yeah, appreciate the kind words. Let's keep going. So you know that the O is also a crown, a portal, a head, a face, a ring, a matrix, a womb, an egg, but really it's a portal, you know. And I'll explain more in a minute, but let's just go with, just remember, every time you see the 15, that's a crown also, okay? So remember earlier we wrote 666? Well, let's write 666 and see what it equals. 666. First of all, it equals 156. The 156 prime is 911, okay? And the 15 reduced is 6 because the letter O is the 15th letter of the alphabet, okay? The letter O is the 15th letter. 1 plus 5 is 6, so you have 156. And then the total would be 21, and the year for 9/11 was 2001, 21. Get it? So the 156 prime is 9/11. Anyway, let me keep going here. So what? So remember what I told you. When you see the 15, that's the crown. And then what numbers do you have left? 6, 4, 8. See it? those numbers that I was just telling you about. So you have the 15, which is the O, you know, then you have 648 for 666 again, right? And why am I showing you that? The 648 with the crown? Because remember, we're talking about 486 with a crown because Seattle won the 48th and they might win the 60th. So you have a 486 with a crown, the letter O, because the O is the 15th letter, right? And look, you have 4860 across. Seattle wins the 48th and the 60th. You see what I mean? Okay? You see that, right? Okay. Look, and remember I told you that the Washington State event is going to be in June. June equals 64 and 80 backwards. I mean, the total. If you add up the totals, you get 64 and 80. You see that? Okay. There's that 648 with a crown. I'm just showing you where they have the numbers. The antichrist has those numbers across also right here, 6480. You know, these are not perfect, like, you know what I mean? I would not call this perfect equations, you know, but they're still worth showing, okay? And even when you put a crown on God, which would make the word good, Good, it has a 6480. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Just like June is 6480. You know what I mean? So you have the totals is that. And remember, Elvis died at 42. Washington's the 42nd state. And the square root of 42 is 6.48. And then you had a zero. You know, I mean, there's more connections here too. But the first four numbers is what we're looking at: 648 with a crown. Okay. If you saw earlier in the video, you know what I'm talking about with the 648 or the 684 or the 486. Okay. Now, remember earlier I showed you just a minute ago that the O represents a crown, a portal, a head, a face, a ring, a womb, a matrix, because womb is a matrix, or an egg, you know, like an egg of a, you know, in the woman's womb. So what I'm saying is the O is a big deal and it represents a portal. And the three, or the letter E, even like Elvis has the letter E in it, E or a three connects to the W. W is Washington. It looks like a crown. All right. And the W is a crown, or the three. So anytime you see three, it's a crown. So look, so this is what I mean. Look, see, June 11th is the 162nd day of the year. August 4th is the 216th day of the year. So if you were to make it with a three, look at what you get. 162 times 3 is 486. 216 times 3 is 648. You see what I mean? The 3 is the crown, right? And even if you were to plus 162 plus 3, it'd be 165. Guess who's born on 165? June 14th? Trump. Trump's born on the 165th day of the year. 162 plus 3 would be 165. You see what I mean? It never ends, the connections, you know? Anyway, the 3 is the crown. Okay, and you see how it connects to those numbers that we're talking about, which earlier I showed you that the 162nd day of the year is June 11th, 486, 162. Remember, I showed you from the first of the year to 611, 161 days, 162 days, or 163 on a leap year. All right, 486. And the 3 looks like a W, which is a crown. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, because Obama, like I said, is a big player in this charade, Obama's born on 8/14/1961. If you took his prime numbers, 8, 14, 19, and 61, the prime numbers for those numbers for his birthday, you get the totals is 92 and 376 is 468. You see that? Again, with those numbers. You know, it's the same numbers, but, just mixed up. 486, 468, 684, 864. You see that? And August 4th, when he's born, is the 216th day of the year, right? And Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. That's the day Trump gets his head wound, on August 4th. Okay? Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. August 4th is the 216th day of the year. 468 for Obama's birth date. Square root of 468 is 21.6. 216. You see? Come on, man. Come on. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. Trump's head wounds on 8/4. Trump's born 6/14. 6 times 14 is 84. Okay? 468, the square root is 21.6. That's Obama's birthday. The totals for his prime numbers for his birthday is 468. 468 square root is 21.6. August 4th is the 216th day of the year. And what is the square root of 216? 216 square root is 14.6, which is Trump's birthday, 614 backwards. You see that? Because in the UK, they say 6 instead of 614. And 6 times 14 is 84. Okay? 6 times 14 is 84. And Trump's going to get his head wound on 8/4. Okay? And remember, we were talking about the 486 with Obama. 468 with Obama. Where is it? The 468 on his birthday. And the square root of it is 21.6, August 4th, 216th day of the year. Look at this. Remember earlier I said, because remember his birthday was, the totals were 486 or 468, excuse me. So, and look, if you go from the first of the year to August 4th, it's 648 the total for the amount of days. 215, 216, or 217. 648. So it's again the same thing, right? Now, and remember I told you that the 3 is a crown. 216 times 3 is 648, right? Which is the big deal, right? So the 3 is a W, right? The 3 is a W, like an E or a W. The W is like Washington. W like a crown, right? So when you see something like this, 6483, what you're seeing is a crown on the 648, which is August 4th, right? 648. 648 with a crown. So you know that Trump is the 47th president? And when Obama became president, first time, he was 47 years old when he was elected. From the day he was elected at the age of 47, on this day, he was elected, to this year, August 4th, 2026, is 6483 days. You see that? Look at that. The crown. You see what I mean? Are you getting that? You see? 648 for August 4th. I hope you guys are understanding this. Now, hold on, man. My hand's about to fall off. Let me explain to you why that date is so important. The day that Obama was elected, okay? I'm going to show it to you right now why it's such a big deal. Okay, watch this. Man, my hand's about to... Obama bugs. It just really hurt my hand here. Yeah, okay. Make sure... folks, make sure you thumb up the video, okay? And make sure you comment under the comment section after I end this video. Yeah. This is a must-watch video all the way through. Okay, now here comes the final piece of the puzzle here. Yeah, appreciate that. Okay, now here we go here. Sorry, folks, my hands are numb. I can't even lift the phone. Hold on. All right, so remember earlier, so we're talking about the 648, right? Ah, come on. So the 648, remember I told you God with a crown had the 648 with a, with the crown right here, the 648 numbers, right? And God with a crown, the letter O. And let me just show you this. But let's use just the word God itself. God, the word God itself is 26 and 17. I'm not going to get into the backwards numbers, which is super important to the puzzle, but I just want to focus on this. God equals 2617. Look at these numbers. August 4th is a 216, 217. So you have 2167. See? 2167. 2167. Okay? So the word God has the August 4th dates in it. Okay? Now, why am I showing you this? Because remember this piece right here that I just showed? Let me, again, one time, just show this again. That way you can see how important what I'm about to show you is. Okay, let me just one more time show this. So when Obama was born, his prime numbers for the date of his birth, when you add up his birth date and the prime numbers for it, is 468. The square root of 468 is 21.6. That looks like the number 216. 216th day of the year is August 4th, Obama's birthday, the day Trump gets his head wound. Okay? And Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. And the square root of 216 is 14.6, which is like Trump's birthday, 614. It just said backwards, 14.6. And 6 times 14 is 84. And of course, we're talking about, the number 468, okay? And I told you from the first of the year to August 4th is 6. If you add up the amount of days that it connects to August 4th is 648, okay? So it has the same numbers as 468. And then I told you that the 3 is a crown, right? The 3, 648 with a crown, right? 216 times 3, because August 4th is the 216th day of the year, is 648. The 3 is a crown, right? And from Obama's, the day he was elected president to next year when Trump gets his head wound on August 4th is 6483. Okay? And that connects to that and to August 4th connecting to 648. It just needs that 3, the crown. Okay? And that's where this comes in. Okay? Now, why am I showing you this? Because see the word God equals 2617 and how it connects to the August 4th date because it has the same numbers, 2167, 2167. Why is this date so important when Obama was elected? Okay, because from August 4th to that day that he was elected, is 17,260 days. Okay? Pay attention. Trump is going to get his head wound in Ohio, which is the 17th state. 26 is the year next year, and you have that crown. Okay? 1726 with a crown. What is this? It's the word God. 2617. You see? And remember, God with a crown equaled, the total was 6480. So you're seeing 2617, the word God here, 1726 with a crown. You see? So from his birth to the day he was elected, okay? Are you on? I'll explain in a minute, but do you understand this part? Are you understanding this part? And remember, from that day, and remember why it's so important that day, because from that day, you get the 648 with a crown from that day to August 4th. Okay? So from Obama's birth to that day when he got elected is the God number with a crown. All right? All right. Now wait. What? Wait a minute. What aren't you getting? Who doesn't get that? And before I end this video, because I got to end the video, what are you guys saying? Who's saying no to this? Who is not understanding this? Here, let me explain it to you. All right? There. Look. By the way, I'm right-handed. So everything you're seeing is switched up. So that's why you're seeing the numbers kind of backwards. So let me do it the other way. That way it doesn't look backwards. So the word God, someone's asking me, how is God 26 and 17? Because see, the word God, G is the 7th letter, O is the 15th letter, and D is the 4th letter. You add that up, it's 26. Now, why is it 17? Because see, the only number here that can be reduced is the letter O, because it's the 15th letter. It's got double digits. 1 plus 5 is 6. That's why when you do the number again for the reduce, it's 764. So you get 17. 7 plus 6 plus 4. Okay? So that's why you have two numerical. You're getting the number 26, and then the reduced number, when you reduce all the numbers, is 17. Because the G cannot be reduced anymore. That's why you get, you're getting that. Okay? Do you understand? Do you understand now? Okay. So for anyone who didn't understand what that was about, yeah. All right. Anyway, folks, yeah. So anyone who came in late, first thing you have to do is make sure you thumb up the video before you go. Thumb up the video and comment under the video. All right. And go back and watch it again. I'm serious. Start from the beginning, because this was an easy video to understand, and it was incredible information. It's just that for the new people, you need to watch all my videos under the live stream. Go to the live section of this channel. Don't go to the video section, because the video section is all the older videos. Go to the live section of this channel. That's where all my recent videos are. And watch only the prediction videos, okay? Having to do with Elvis, Trump, and June 11th, August 4th, Washington State, Ohio. All right. Yes. Yes, Jesus is God. Absolutely. Anyway, let's end this video here. Any last questions? I'll stay on for less than 5 minutes. If nobody has any questions, we'll end it now. Yes, we need to know. We need to expose them for what's coming. That way people will know, you know. That way they'll know it's not a coincidence what is about to happen. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys. Yeah, I'll probably do a live stream later tonight. Oops. Look at this, 2:16. I look at the clock, it's 2:16. I don't know if you can see that. Look at that, 2:16. August 4th. I mean, can you imagine? I came to look to tell you guys. Like, what is the chance of that, you know? And anyway, I'll see you guys in like 4 hours and 4.5 hours, basically. 4 hours, 40 minutes. But anyway. All right. I'll see you guys. Make sure you thumb up the video. All right. All right. End the video. Like I said, go to the live section. That's where all my videos are, my recent videos. You got to watch at least 10 videos to fully grasp what my channel and what I'm predicting. All right. End of video. Jesus is God.